The man had just placed his hand on the carcass of the polar bear to take a photo, but then, next second, his arm was hit by a sharp pain. When Bart raised his arm, he discovered a wound on it. His thigh was from a fleet bite from the polar bear and didn't think much of it. However, by night, Bart's arm started itching intensely. He scratched it continuously. Even though it was bleeding, he didn't stop. Unable to bear it any longer, he simply wrapped the wound with some gauze, though he didn't think the small wound was serious. The next day, Wabar was repairing the circuit. He noticed the wound oozing pus. He took off the bandage and saw that the wound had already begun to rot. At that moment, a teammate came to ask about the repair progress. Bart quickly adjusted the bandage and brushed it off. It wasn't until they saw the polar bear's rotting carcass in the lab, with terrifying worms crawling out of it, that Bart realized the gravity of the situation. He immediately prepared to clean his arm's wound, but when Bart removed the gauze, he discovered not only had the wound rotted, but there were also unknown creatures wriggling inside. His teammates were all horrified by the sight. However, this was a wilderness base. There were neither professional personnel nor medical equipment. To survive, Bart had no choice but to take matters into his own hands. He carefully pried open the rotting wound. Sure enough, a worm was inside. After being exposed, the worm quickly burrowed back into the flesh. Everyone was terrified. Bart reacted quickly and immediately took out a kitchen knife to save his life. He had no choice but to sacrifice his arm. With his teammates' help, Bart temporarily preserved his life. At that moment, Ellie opened the first aid kit. She intended to reinforce Bart's wound, but then she found her father's notebook. Inside, he recorded in detail the origin of the worm. It turned out that this worm was a vertebrate. The male is harmless and dies naturally after biting a person, but the female burrows into the host's body to lay eggs and reproduce. At this point, the situation had completely surpassed the understanding of these young people. After some discussion, they decided to rest for the night and then leave by plane the next day.